Hey there everybody, I'm Richard. This is a little bit of everything. Welcome back to the channel. You might have to excuse the beanie. I'm getting ready to go outside, and even though it is past the middle of April here where I live, it snowed last night just like it did all across the Northeast. Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, and Iowa. It just winter just will not give up. It's crazy. So anyway, I'm getting ready to go outside and do something, but before I did that, I wanted to kind of introduce you to the video that I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be talking a little bit about this radar detector that I have here. This is the Escort Max 360C. This radar detector I purchased a while back, and in the interest of full disclosure, this isn't going to be an unboxing, so to speak. I am going to take it out. I've been using this radar detector now for about a month. I purchased it before I went on a trip. I've been thinking about getting one for a while, and I went ahead and purchased this one, and kind of wanted to check it out a little bit. Radar detectors are kind of a subjective subject. Some people, they just have opinions about them. I like using a radar detector for a couple different reasons. One, because, well, let's just say I have a tendency to have a lead foot, and it's not intentional all the time. I really only am interested in using these when I travel, just because I'm trying to protect myself. And so I researched a lot of the different radar detectors. Again, this is the Escort Max 360. And then here is the power cable for it. And this kind of is part of the reason, this power cable is kind of part of the reason why I'm having this video today. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about the radar detector itself. I'm going to link you to a video that I used that was very informative and helped me walk through the different stages of what this radar detector does. It's an extremely elaborate radar detector, more than I really thought when I purchased it. It has a lot of interesting functions on 360-degree coverage around your vehicle. It has arrows that light up on the face that tell you where the radar detection is coming from. It has learning features on it. Anyway, I don't want to get into the details of the radar detector. I mainly want to show you another step that I'm going to do with this radar detector, where I'm going to permanently install it in my truck. So that's really what the video is about today, to show you how I'm going to install this permanently. As you can see, it has a power cord here that plugs into your cigarette lighter. And then, of course, you have to remove this every time you get out of the vehicle and what have you. What I wanted was a permanent solution, and they do sell permanent cables that you can purchase to install these. And that's kind of what I wanted to show you in today's video. Again, I'll link you to some information about this radar detector, so if you're interested to go see what it is I purchased, you can watch the video about the settings and everything that has to do with this radar detector, and you can see all the relevant information there. But when I come back, I'm going to show you just exactly what I'm going to be doing with this radar detector in today's video. Okay, for the installation of this radar detector permanently into my truck, I have in front of me some of the tools that I'm going to be using and some of the odds and ends. First of all, I want to show you this package right here. This is called a smart cord, and let me pull it out of the package that it's in. So this is a smart cord, and on the end of it, it has three connections. It has a phone cable. You can actually go to a local store and buy just a phone cable to do this installation. But they actually sell a permanent installation kit for these radar detectors. It has a terminal which will be put to the ground inside the relays portion of the truck, and then it has the connection that's going to connect actually to the relay within my truck. So I'll get to that here in just a second. So It also has a button here that you can actually mute. It comes with some Velcro that you can mount this in a convenient location so that if the radar detector is blaring, you can hit that button to mute it. So that's that. That replaces this cord that plugs into the radar detector that goes directly to your power source. So we'll get to that in a second. The other things that I have here are, I have some shrink tubing that I'm going to be using to shrink a connection that I'm going to be making. And I have these interesting little things right here. So what these are, they are a relay that you use inside of your relay box. Let me pull one of these out just to show it to you. So this is what's commonly referred to as a relay tap. You can see that this has the two prongs that match the relays that are in your particular box. There is one thing that I need to state about this. You have different size relays, and in the past, the relays that were in most cars were the same size. But over the course of the last 10 or 15 years, these relay sizes have changed. And as a matter of fact, you got the regular size, you've got the mini, and you've got the micro mini. And in my particular instance, in my relay panel, I've got micro mini. So you have to make sure that you get the right tap. When you go online to Amazon, you can search for the kind that is relative to whatever fuses that you have. And those fuses will be identified in the paperwork for your particular vehicle. But just make sure that when you order this tap, you're getting the right size tap. Believe me, I know I did order the wrong size tap originally. So mine is a micro. So I've got a 20 amp circuit that I'm going to be pulling for the radio. Again, I want my radar detector to come on when the car is turned on and shut off when it's turned off, which matches what the radio does. So I'm going to be pulling the 20 amp circuit. Now keep in mind, these are different colors, which means they're different amperages, but for the purposes of this demonstration, pretend like they're the same. I'm going to be pulling the 20 amp circuit out of the truck, out of the relay panel in the radio location. And then I'm going to be putting it in the top part of this. You can see there's two sets of slots here. So if I put that here, that is in parallel with the actual cable itself. You want that to be in the same position as your cable, which is the top. And then all of these taps, when you buy them online, at least most of them that I've seen, come with some fuses. And the set that I bought, this tap, I bought two of these, and they each came with a 5, 10, 15, and 20 amp fuse. And so, pretending as though this is the 20 amp fuse, I would take the 20 amp fuse that came with the tap, and then I put it in the secondary location, right here. So now that's what that looks like, is you've got two circuit breakers in there. The one that's out of the vehicle in the top, the one that's for, that came with the tap here. If you don't have circuit breakers, or fuses, I'm sorry, that come with the tap, you're gonna have to purchase an extra one because you need two of them, and they need to be the same amperage. And then what you're gonna do then is you're gonna take this and you're going to plug it back into the location within the circuit breaker panel. This is then going to supply power to whatever accessory that you're trying to get installed. And then obviously the other end will get attached to this end. And what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut this off because it's not the right kind of connection. I will cut this off. I will use my strippers here to strip back a bit of the wire, and I will insert that inside of this. I will insert that inside of this, and I will crimp that down, and that will make my connection. Then I will be able to run the rest of this wire up through the headliner into the location that I'm going to be mounting the radar detector. I will find a location within the relay box that is a metal to metal grounding component, and I will put that in there. I'll show you all of this when I get down in there and what I'm going to be doing. And then this I will run up into the top of the window through the headliner, Then I'll find a nice location to store this little device so that I have easy access when the radar detector goes off. So the only thing that's really not shown here are your upholstery tools that you're going to need to remove any type of upholstery. I don't really anticipate having to do that in this installation. When you go up under the windshield, that whole area right there is easily accessible and you can tuck wires down in it. The pillar that runs down the side is the only thing that I don't know about how I'm going to have to run that wire. Plus, once I get it down there, I'm going to have to get it down into the relay box, which is down in my particular year, 2017 truck. It's down in the passenger footwell. So without any further ado, let's go down to the truck and I'll show you how I'm going to install this permanently. Okay, so as you can see, we're out in the car, or the truck, I'm sorry. And first thing I'm going to do is apologize profusely for the lighting because unfortunately, since it's so cold, I really need to do this in my garage because I don't want to freeze to death. Yeah, I know I'm being a little bit of a drama queen, but anyway, the first thing that you really need to do when you're going to install these permanently is you need to determine where you want to install it on the dash. And for me, I'm wanting to put it right here. And then the second thing you need to do is run the wires to the location where you're actually going to be making your power connections. And you need to see if all of that works out. So the first step for me is determining where I want it. And the second step is going to be, since I have this little control thing here, I need to determine where that's going to be as well. So you can see in the headliner, it's real easy to pull that back. I have my upholstery tool. See, I can get my fingers right in there. So it's going to be real easy to run my wires back through here down to the other side. My particular relay box is down here in the passenger wheel well, and I'll show you that in a second. So I need to run the wire across down that pillar and down into the passenger wheel well, and I'll show you where that relay box is so that you have a sense of what it is I need to do. Okay, so I'm over here at the passenger side, and in my particular situation, you can see that the relay box is down here in the wheel well. Let me move this. Here's the panel that I pulled out of there. It just slides in there and pops out. It's really an easy removal. And most of your fuse boxes are going to be that way. Your installation might be a little bit different, but that's where mine is. So as I was showing you a few minutes ago, I'm going to run this line up along this headliner in here, and then I'm going to be coming down this pillar. But what I'm going to do is I have this intersection right here that I can easily stuff a wire down into around this corner. And then there's this rubber seal that I'll be able to pull back and run my wire down in here. And then I got down here to this side panel here. This particular panel pops off and it exposes the area all the way down to my relay box. So I'm going to be able to run that wire down through here and then drop it down through this hole down into my relay box, which is perfect for me. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting the radar detector up in its place, get it all set up, and start pushing that wire around, and I'll do a time lapse on that so that you can see. And once I get down to this location and I get the wire down in where I need it, I'll just do a quick rebrief of what I did. So once you know what the where the fuse box is at, you need to determine what it is. And there are two different fuse centers in my truck. I have what they call the power bank, which is inside the engine in the motor, or inside the engine underneath the hood next to the motor. And then I have this one, which is here in the passenger compartment on the wheel well. And you'll see that every single one of these fuses are numbered. Sorry. You'll see that every single one of these fuses are numbered in correspondence with the actual fuses themselves. And then it tells you here what the amperage is and what that fuse is used for. In my particular instance, I'm choosing to use this 10 amp, which is number 32, which is the multifunction display, global position system, sync, and radio frequency receiver. And the reason I'm using this, particular fuse is because this one shuts off when the car shuts off, which is what I want my radar detector to do. Turn on when the car's turned on, turn off when it's shut off, so that it doesn't run my battery down. You just need to be careful when you pick. I was thinking originally that I wanted to use this 5 amp right here, but this is trailer brake control. And when I got to reading about that, it said online that this will stay on for long periods of time after you've shut your vehicle off, because it doesn't want to lose the settings when you put those in. Now, I have the fuse for the trailer brake control module, but I don't have the trailer brake control module on my truck. So that would have to be installed, but I still have power in that fuse. So I'm concerned that that's going to stay on for long periods of time after I shut the key off. So I've decided to move a different direction. At one point I was tempted to use this number 35, this 5 amp restraints module, until I read about that. And that particular fuse is for the car airbags, and I do not want to mess with that at all. So I'm going to go with this one. This one should shut off and turn on fine with the ignition. So let me show you how I'm going to install that. So the first thing that I'm going to do, this is my power wire. You can see that it's got red and green, or red and black stripe on it. That indicates the power wire. This is the ground wire. So because I'm not going to be using this connector, I have these wire cutters here. You can buy these online on Amazon. Sorry I didn't show these in the tools. This and the crimper I didn't show in the tools, but I'm going to use this to cut the wire here. So on the back side of this, there's actually a cutter. I'm going to go in and cut that off. And then I'm going to use the stripper part of it to strip the wire. Expose. Okay, so I have the relay jumper here. I've put the 15 amp circuit breaker that came with the relay jumper that I purchased. I've put it in the lower side. As you can see, the top side here is now for the 15 amp circuit breaker that I have pulled out of the relay box, and I'm going to stick that in the top. So now you can see I have both 15 amp circuit breakers in there. So I'm going to take my crimper tool here. I'm going to put this into the tool. I'm going to take the wire. I'm going to put it into the metal sleeve. And now I'm going to crimp down on it. So now you can see that I've got the wire crimped inside there. So now I'm going to take the relay tool and I'm going to plug it into the box. So the spot that it has to go into, let's see if I can move the camera so you can see where I'm putting this. It's back in here. Now you can see it right there. You can see it plugged into the relay box itself. You can see how it folds down there. And then the next step will be installing this, installing the ground wire where it needs to go. And I already have a spot in the back here, right here, this post that you can just barely see on the corner of your screen. I have another one on there, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off and install this. And then we're going to power up the radar detector and see if everything works like it's supposed to. Turn on the accessory. There it is. It just came on. Can you see that? Sorry for the lighting. It's terrible in here, I know. But yeah, it works. So watch when I shut the key off. Turns off. Turn the key on. There it is. It comes on. It works. So before I sign off, I thought I'd give you one more quick image of the install after everything's put back together. You can see that the passenger kick panel, relay panel is back in. I have my mat back in. You can't see any of the wiring from top to bottom. I also got this this little mute button installed. I'm not necessarily thrilled with how it looks here with the Velcro, so I might figure out something else for that, but for now that's going to be just fine. I just had to be careful that it didn't interfere with the operation of my door there. And it sets underneath my my Cirrus satellite. This particular truck did not come with Cirrus installed, so I had to get a little optional aftermarket radio put in so that I could have Cirrus radio in here. But so at some point I am planning on replacing this entire control center here with an LCD screen that has all the operation of my radio and my heating and air conditioning. And it'll have Cirrus built in, and then I can delete this little guy and get him out of here. But that's it on the install of the radar detector, permanent install. It was really pretty easy. It only took me about an hour and 15 minutes to do. There were some other tools that I used that I kind of wanted to show you. If you're going to be doing any kind of work inside your truck or car and you're going to be moving upholstery around, I mean, this is almost a must-have. I'll put a link to it. I got it off of Amazon. It wasn't very expensive at all. And I'm going to tell you what, it has saved me so many headaches, especially this little tool here. All over my truck, I have those little plastic buttons that they use when they put stuff together. And that little pry tool is made just for those two of them, one with a sharper angle. But those are made just to pop those little pry tools out. And then all the rest of these tools are made to get up underneath areas within your upholstery and pop panels out. Those panels, even though they're in there really tight, they come out rather easily. And once you've been back and forth in them a few times, they come out a little bit easier. But you feel like you're going to break them, but you're not. You're going to pop them loose. Anyway, this is that crimp tool that I told you that I had, or that I showed you that I used. And this is the wire stripper I ended up using. I didn't use the other one that I showed earlier. And then there was a ratchet set that I used with a 10mm socket on it that I used to undo the bolt so that I could slide the ground wire up over the bolt. So those were the other tools that I didn't mention in the beginning. These are all optional. Obviously, if you're going to be popping panels out, you can use a butter knife or a screwdriver. The only thing about that is you have a chance of marring up your finish on your upholstery. These they're plastic and they won't do that. They work really, really well for that purpose, obviously, because that's what they're made for. And obviously the strippers and the crimpers, you could actually crimp that wire with a good set of big pliers, so you don't have to have those. Strippers, you can actually strip the wire with a razor blade, so you wouldn't have to have those either. Most everybody has some kind of socket and a 10mm wrench. So Anyway, those were just some additional tools that I use, and I wanted to make sure I included them in the video. Hey everybody, well that just about wraps it up for the installation of the permanent wire harness for the Escort Max 360C. I hope that you enjoyed the video. There's a couple things I do want to add. The installation that I did on my Ford F-150, the 2017 model, obviously the relay panel was in a certain position in my truck. It might be different for your truck or car, and that will dictate how you're going to route your wires from one place to another. But it's all pretty standard stuff. Getting in and around the relays is pretty much the same no matter what vehicle you're in. And you know, removing panels and that kind of thing, it's really not that difficult of a job. So like I said, I think it took me an hour and a half, and that's even setting up the video camera and doing all that as well. So it's not a particularly difficult installation. If you've had any questions or you want to interact with me in any way about this installation, I'm happy to do that. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to be transitioning to the faith-based portion of my video right now. I would love it if you would stay tuned and watch that. If not, thank you for watching. I hope you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. God bless. Hey there everybody, how you doing? I'm Richard and this is Faith Changes Everything. Welcome to the channel. If you've not been here before, I talk a little bit about the Bible. I'll talk about Bible verses. I'll talk about scripture. I will say prayers. We talk about all things Bible and faith and what have you. And faith is really the cornerstone of what I want to talk to you about today in today's message. I hope not to be very long. I hope to make this short, but I do want to talk to you a little bit about the word faith and what it means to me and what I think it might mean to you at some point in your life as well. So as a Christian, I've been asked to defend from time to time a question that I've gotten, and maybe some of you have asked this question yourself. The question that I've heard before is, how is it that you can believe in something that you cannot see? If you were to look up faith in the dictionary, you might find a definition that says something to the effect of faith is derived from a confidence or trust in a person, thing, or concept. And while others who are more skeptical of religion tend to think of faith as simply belief without existence. Well, to me, faith is a cause and effect. And the cause in this particular instance is that I'm introduced to Jesus Christ and I develop a faith in Jesus Christ, and then I'm affected by my faith in Jesus Christ. Cause and effect. There are many people out there who believe in evolution or believe that there's some scientific answer to all of the Bible's doctrines and everything written about Christ, when it comes to his miracles and his resurrection from the cross. Some consider those circumstances or coincidence. But when you walk in a life of Jesus and you begin to learn about true faith, in my perspective, you begin to understand that even though I don't see his physical form, my faith is always justified in the effect he's had on my life, which makes it much more about the things than I can actually see. God gives us examples of believing in things that we cannot see in every single aspect of our life. And I would submit to you, if asked that question, how do you believe in something you cannot see? I would suggest that maybe there are a lot of things in your life that you believe in that you cannot see. I sat down and put down a list of things that I actually believe in and don't see other than Jesus. And all of these things have a cause and effect on me, and they have that same cause and effect on you in every single day of your life. So let's talk about some of those. I created an entire list of things that I know I have faith in, but yet I've not seen. And I would submit to you that many of you, well, scratch that. Let's say that all of you believe and have faith in at least one of these things that I'm getting ready to talk about and have not seen them. When I originally sat down to write this list, I went on to explain, or what I felt like was a good explanation for every one of the items on the list that has a cause and effect in your life, but that just got too long and involved. So I decided there are really only two things that are extremely and very relatable to us as individuals, well, I guess as humans, that we deal with on a daily basis. And they're things that we believe and have faith in every single day, but we do not see. So I'll save those two for the end. I'm just basically going to read you the list of items that I'd written down, and then The last two items we'll talk about in more detail. So here, let me get my list out here. Okay, so we have the wind, we have helium, we have nitrogen, we have photosynthesis, we have the internet, we have temperature, we have sound, electricity, radar, and radio waves. Everything in this list is something that you've experienced in your life, or it's had an effect on you in some way in your life, but you didn't see it. You can't see temperature, you can't see electricity, but you do have faith that when you flip that switch, the light's going to come on, and you know the electricity's there, you know it works in and around you, but you don't see it at all. You might see the effects of it when it burns something, or lightning sets fire to a tree in your yard, but you don't see electricity. The internet. The internet is something all of us rely on and have faith on every single day. I mean, it may or may not work the way that you want it to, but I know that you have faith that when you log into that website to look up whatever it is you want to look at, TikTok video or YouTube channel or whatever, when you log into that, you have faith that whatever you're there to see, you're going to see. That's, again, faith in something that you can't see. Most of us have felt the wind in our face, right? I mean, I've seen the wind blow leaves in the trees. I've felt the wind blow on my face when I'm on a bicycle, or I'm on the beach, or I'm out playing golf and I'm cursing it because it's messing with my game. No matter who you are or where you've existed in your life, you have felt the effects of wind. I mean, you also have faith that too much wind is going to create damage. I mean, you have faith that when you're sitting in a warm place and the wind's blowing on you, that it's going to cool your skin. That's just another thing that you have faith in that you can't see, and something you've believed in your entire life. And that is the cause and effect of wind. But the two items I want to talk to you a little bit more in detail about are things that every single person that's walked the face of the earth deals with every single day. The first one that I would submit to you, it's pretty basic, but it's oxygen. I mean, you've learned to have faith in oxygen your entire life, but I would suggest that you've never seen oxygen. You have to have it to sustain you every single time you take a breath. Your expectation, whether you believe it or not, is that that breath will provide another moment of life to you. You've learned that oxygen is out there. You've learned how it's created. But again, you don't see it. You don't smell it. You can't touch it. But I submit to you that you do feel the effects of taking a breath. And that breath is cause and effect in your life. The other thing that I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is a little bit less subjective, because you live with it and experience it in every single moment of every single day of your life, and I would submit to you even your death, and you don't even realize it's there. And that's simply gravity. Gravity you don't see, you don't hear, you don't touch, but the effects of gravity, you feel them every single moment of your life. I mean, you may or may not know this, but gravity is what keeps you from flying off the planet as we spin around on this universe. I mean, you feel it every second. You may not perceive that you feel it, but it's there doing exactly what it was intended, and you have faith that when you stand up, you won't float away. Again, that's faith in something that you cannot see. So let's transition just for a minute to the Bible, and let's talk about the cause and effect of one particular individual who set up a requirement for his belief in order that he would believe that Jesus existed. And this person was a very important person in the Bible because it was one of Jesus's disciples. In John chapter 20, verse 25, there's a story about Thomas. You've heard the term doubting Thomas. Well, this verse and this particular point in the Bible is where that came from. Thomas was one of the 12 disciples of Christ, as I had mentioned. And after Jesus was crucified, there were others that had seen him alive, and they went to Thomas and they had told him they had seen him. And he refused to believe the testimony of those who had witnessed that they'd seen Christ with their own eyes after the resurrection. He refused to believe the testimony of 10 of his friends and brethren who had absolutely no reason to deceive him. So then Thomas has this passionate declaration where he says, I'm not going to believe unless I see and touch the Lord's body. The verse that talks about the disciples talking to Thomas is verse 25. And in that verse it says, "So the disciples told him, 'We have seen the Lord.' But he said unto them, 'Unless I see the nail marks in his hand, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe.'" Later in verse 27, Jesus appears before Thomas, and he says to Thomas, "Put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." And then later in verse 29, he says, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believed." There are a myriad of things that we as humans experience every single day in our life that we have trust and faith in, but we don't see. I would submit to you that my faith in Jesus Christ is the exact same thing. I've not seen him, yet I believe. While I cannot see Jesus, I know by history and what is taught that he did exist. There are those that will probably scoff at me saying that. How can you know that for sure? But I know that he existed, the same way that you know your great-great-grandparents existed. And why? Because you're here. I mean, most of you have never seen your great-great-grandparents. If you have, you're very fortunate, but most of us have not seen our great-great-grandparents. But we know through the history and teachings of our own family that they were here and that they existed, and as a result, we're here. My faith in Jesus' teachings and how it affects my life are the cause and effect that I spoke of my belief in him. I cause to believe. The effect has been what that belief has done to me and how it has affected me in my life. I know historically he was here, and I believe in the words that he taught, and as a result of that, I have felt that in my own life. I felt the effects of that in my own life. If you've not had a committed walk with Christ, if you're not saved and believe in Jesus, I can understand why that would seem foreign to you and why you might have doubt and that you might have questions about that. But to ask a singular question, how can you believe in something that you do not see, flies in the face of things that you believe and do not see every single day of your life. You know, the faith that I have in his existence, you know, it's been proven in my life by the effects that he's had on me and the people in my life that also believe in him. I've seen him do great things. And I have the same faith that he loves me that I do, that gravity will keep me firmly planted on this spinning globe. You know, some people might say that's just a coincidence. It's not any more of a coincidence to me than the faith that I have that taking a breath sustains me. It's cause and effect. It's faith. Faith in things you cannot see. And we all do it every single day. Hey, thank you for joining me on this version of Faith Changes Everything. I really hope that you've heard something that's touched you, or if you have, and if you've got questions about any of it, please feel free to reach out to me. I make myself available whenever I can. I respond as quickly as I get messages or I see them. So if you've got any questions or concerns, please interact with me. With that, I'm going to say good day to you. I hope that you have a blessed day. Please like and subscribe. I'd love to continue to interact with you in any way that you would like me to. I hope you have a great, blessed day. And don't forget, God loves you so very much. And so do I. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you in the next video.